Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Hi. Hi. So, thank you for joining us today for this AMA special mission free. So, I see we already have a number of people in the chat. So that's great to see you. So, who's there? I saw Concept on Wax. Great to see you again here. Fibonacci. Whoa, what a number of names. Yeah, and you, Thunder. You see no names in the list?
Well,
Yo.
I'm seeing a lot of Wagneys.
Yeah, also, yeah. Uh, let's go. Let's fucking. Can I say the F word? I don't know. I see communities too. Yeah. So that's great to see you guys. So, as explained, so today we will have an IMA that is clearly focused on the mission free that is upcoming now. And we have received, yeah, more than 100 questions. So that was great. And we will not have time to answer everything. So, I mean, separately. So we have joined the question into themes, and you may see your question with two or three that are very similar, that are in one answer, that will receive answer in one go. And yeah, so I guess we will start, if it's okay for you, Thunder, right now, or maybe we wait
So,
still a little bit more. I guess people are there now. It's past 2, so
yeah,
okay.
sounds good to
So
me.
first big themes that we got a lot of question will be the general theme of Marsha uses, and our first question will be: will there be other mechanism with the release of Mission 3, or will it be focused on new cards and the mining and processing of minerals? Will it be implemented during this mission? So
Yeah. So, yeah, before we get into it, I just want to say hi to everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again, Stephanie and Thunder, for hosting, and it's exciting to be here. So, yeah, thanks everyone for reading the Medium article. We're looking forward to Mission 3. And yeah, so let's get into the questions. The first one, so yeah, will there be other mechanisms with the release of Mission 3? Will it be focused on new cards? Yeah, so this is a great question. Basically, mission 3, it's important for us to continue to release missions to get to our ultimate goal, which is really about making a self-sustaining city on Mars. So the goal is basically each mission will continue to build on the surface of Mars more equipment, more buildings, more vehicles, adding new astronauts. And so Mission 3 is an important next step towards that goal. And the kind of theme of this mission is here to stay. So, of course, Mission 1, Mission 2, Mission 1 was, of course, sort of there weren't any astronauts. It was more automated equipment, helping kind of test things, build things. And then Mission 2 was the first astronauts on Mars. And in this simulation, the idea is that Mission 3 is now we've tested some things. The first astronauts have kind of prepared some of the infrastructure, and we've determined that we're here to stay. We're on Mars for the long haul. So Mission 3 is going to have some new astronauts coming with some more specialized skill sets. You'll see some indications of, permanent structures on Mars, and some of the designs of, larger and larger items that will support larger and larger populations. So, of course, Mission 3 is kind of the next step towards that goal. The other thing, just the second part of this question, will it be focused on new cards? Are there going to be other things going with this release? So, of course, the big, feature we're looking to test and implement is the in-game store. So this release will help us test the purchasing flow, and help strengthen some of the infrastructure around, being able to lay the foundation of having a strong, robust kind of in-game ecosystem to support the Martian economy and player progression through in-game purchases. So yeah, the sale of items inside the game is a big milestone for us, and we're looking to expand on that next year. And then starting early next year, we're going to be continuing on other gameplay features like resources, hazards, things like that. So That will be next year, but we're looking to end the year strong with this mission 3 and the in-game store feature.
Great. So
Glenda?
just to confirm for everybody, that means mining and processing of minerals won't be implemented this mission then?
Correct. Yeah, mining and processing of minerals will not be implemented this mission. That will be coming next year. Some of the equipment might be supporting that for future gameplay. However, the actual gameplay feature of mining or resources won't be implemented at this stage.
Great. So next question here. Are you planning to introduce Are you planning to introduce different tokens for different commodities? Like Hunter said, that ice mining rig will mine water or Marsha that will be tradable or be used for our items upgradation.
Yes. Yeah, so we will have a virtual economy in the game that will include different resources like water, food, fuel, things like that. And in the future, players will have an opportunity to choose to earn Marsha Token or resources or a combination of both for the different items. And we're still determining, whether or not that these resources will be blockchain based or not. There's pros and cons to having them be in game versus blockchain based tokens. So that's still kind of something we're determining. But yeah, the resources will be something in the game, and of course the different cards, the subjects of the cards will determine which resources each one produces, and we think that will be really fun for people to strategize and kind of build more custom and specialized decks.
Okay. And so now we can go to the next question, which is still about the store, which is, will there be other in-game items to buy with Marsha aside from the N3 crates?
Yeah, so for this launch, it's just going to be the Mission 3 NFT packs, which we call supply crates. And those will be the first things in the store. So we have 4 supply crate types for Mission 3. There's a new one this mission, which is the basic crate, which is basically like a mini NFT pack with 5 base cards inside. A little bit more of an accessible price point. And next year, the goal is to have more items inside the store, things that kind of support some of the gameplay features. Of course, we've talked about land eventually being one of the items. We're also looking at other NFTs that we can add into the store to support gameplay in the future, but that won't be coming until next year.
Great to hear. So next question here. Are we ever going to get to see any CM merch? Any chance we'll get to buy it with Marsha?
Yeah, this is a great question. And for sure, I mean, we're working on some swag, some merch right now. And we'll definitely update once we're ready to release it. I think, the virtual in real life NFTs are definitely an interesting thing to look at. We're definitely considering it, but of course, merch is important. We also have been looking into the patches, things like that, how we can make some of these things physical. So yeah, I look out for more next year. And of course, our main focus is the game. Our main focus is, building a robust kind of virtual experience. So that's really taking a lot of our time. But yeah, this is definitely a fun thing that we hope to do.
Yeah, that's great. I would love to flex with a patch of mission 1. I was one of the first. No, I was not in mission 1. I arrived just after it, but that would be great.
Yeah, and it'd be really cool, like if you have, the NFT or the NTT patch, that you kind of exclusively can get that in real life.
Yeah.
So
and if the real fabric one to put on your clothes, that would be many. I was talking in French. That would be really nice. Okay, so we will now transition to another team where we had also a number of questions, which was about the sale mechanics in general. And then the first one, and that's a question where we have put together a lot of questions. So to have this one, how can we control the whales and the flippers from buying all the packs? What decision will you make if there is a bot in the game? And is there a system that will protect us from multi-accounts? So that's a big question.
Yeah, sure. So of course, we understand like in the past, supply crates have been purchased pretty quickly. So our goal with future missions is to make that process as smooth as possible. So there's a few things we're planning. One of them is for the in-game purchase process to implement basically a maximum crate quantity cap per transaction. This will just kind of slow down the ability for players to purchase large quantities of crates. We're also adding in a cooldown per transaction, so that also will slow down things for people. It's also a balance, right? I mean, we want to make the user experience of purchasing pleasant and not put too many barriers up. So I think if there's always kind of a balance between, putting too many walls up between purchase and also preventing kind of some of the other issues that we've seen. The Dutch auction mechanic is also another thing that will help because it will, allow players to determine which price is right for them over time. And we think that'll be a really interesting thing to test out and see if people like it. The other thing to mention is whitelists. So with the nature of a Dutch auction, we felt like a whitelist in the in-game store actually wouldn't really support the Dutch auction. So, we're open to suggestions, but I think for the time being, the in-game store will be just Dutch auction for Marsha. But that's one of the reasons why we decided to move some of the quantity over to Atomic Hub for wax. So with that, I do believe we can probably put in something, a whitelist that supports, players and supports kind of the people that are proven to be real and kind of supporting the project. So having them be able to purchase supply crates on Atomic Hub before opening up to the public for sale. So that's something that we're looking into, and we can probably add that in because I've been reading Discord and I see a lot of suggestions for something like that. So we understand that's something that's people are looking for. Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's those are a couple of reasons and ways that we're trying to prevent multi-accounting and things like that.
Awesome. So, what about inside of the game? When we're talking about like botting the Marsha sale, for example, is that something that people have to worry about?
So in terms of inside the game, we're of course launching our own smart contract for this sale. So I think that will also help. It's brand new code. It's stuff that we are developing in house. So I think that will help with botting. We also have strengthened our development team, our infrastructure, and I think that for this sale, it's of course we're still in beta, so this is something we're testing, but I think there will be less likelihood of bots because of the custom development that we're doing. Of course, it's a bit different than Atomic Hub where the contract's kind of been out there for a while, and bots have been an issue. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to learn a lot from this sale. That's kind of why we're adding some flexibility in to the sale by having it in two parts as well. But yeah, in terms of the bots, I think having the ability to have a maximum amount of crates, having a cooldown timer, and also kind of this is all new functionality, so that will also, I think, prevent bots to a certain extent.
All right. And then just to go over a little bit more of that last part of the question about multi-accounting. So a lot of people were a bit concerned about how some have already made multi-accounts in game to separate ownerships or their different cards to, split up their earnings so far. Is there anything that you're going to do to counter them from potentially buying multiple packs?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a challenge. Like, how would we do that? I mean, we're looking into it. I think that just having the it's sort of also an issue like on Atomic Hub. So I think it's kind of a challenge for us to put anything in concrete that can really help with multi-accounting at this point. So yeah, I mean, we're still looking at suggestions, but in terms of multi-accounting, it's basically going to be we're trying to prevent basically with the maximum amount of crates that player can purchase in a cooldown window. And so, that's kind of the extent that we have built in right now.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. So, Thunder, do you want to ask the next one too?
Sure. So, other games have been struggling with enabling drop sales on their website. What is the CM team going to do to make the purchase mechanism reliable? And how are you going to mitigate the risk of technical issues with the drop sale on the website?
Yeah, so we did learn a lot from the first launch that we had, and we've strengthened our development team significantly. We also have improved our infrastructure a lot since then. So we're confident that it's a much better system that we have in place to handle high traffic loads. And we're also working with top blockchain developers in the space to ensure that the purchase mechanism is as reliable as it can be. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll be in a much better position for this sale. And of course, we're still in beta. This is the first test of in-game sales. So we appreciate some patience. It's just gonna take some time for us to get robust, but I think we are in as good of a position as we can be right now. And of course, this is another reason we have kind of a two-part sale. First part being in the in-game store to kind of test some of these things out, and the second part being on Atomic Hub for wax. So this will give us flexibility in case we do encounter any technical issues, but we anticipate that this is going to be smooth.
Okay, great. So now we will transition to yet another theme that is a very important one. And just before, I would like to say to the chat, because I do see you from time to time, and yes, thanks. Viva for Belgium. Yeah, great. Thanks. Not Timothy. I'm flattered. But yeah, let's say in the subject here, and this is one very important one. It is the general theme about price and destinations of the proceeds of the sale. So the next question is, what is the Marsha price of the drop based on? And the next part of discussion is the final price in Marsha per crate final, or is it flexible based on the value of the Marsha on the day of the sale?
Yeah, so for mission 3, we have 4 different crate types. And so the Marsha price is basically determined by the contents in the crate. So, we have different average earning power per crate type listed in the Medium article, and we'll be adding that to the website as well, so players can look at that and determine which crates are right for them. So that's one factor that determines the Marsha price. There's also, we're considering future gameplay elements as we look at the pricing for the different crates, the contents inside, etc. Our goal is to kind of balance the supply between missions, which will give us a really good foundation moving forward for things like resources, where each card subject will kind of have a different value based on different factors of what the item actually does for the city. And the second part is, will the crate, yeah. So basically, this is the way the first part of the sale will be in the game, in the store for Marsha. We're doing the Dutch auction to kind of look a little bit closer at supply and demand and help us understand a little bit more about that. Of course, in the past, the primary sales have been quite low prices relative to the secondary sales. And so we're looking at a little bit more of a balance there, which is actually going to be beneficial for early adopters, players who have supported us in the past, and also kind of support the increase in demand that we anticipate as we move into next year. And then when we move over to Atomic Hub for the second part of the sale, our goal is to achieve a fair price for those crates as well, and we're going to be looking a bit at how demand is for the in-game store as we look at the crates and how which prices they go at. That'll kind of help us determine the price for the Atomic Hub. Our goal is, I think that our goal is to encourage people to purchase the crates for Marsha Token. So I would see that kind of reflected a bit in the pricing. I think it'll probably be more beneficial to purchase them in the game than on Atomic Hub. But we'll release more information after the sale. But we definitely encourage people to start staking their cards and earning Marsha tokens so that they have an opportunity to purchase the crates in the game.
Awesome. So you already addressed a bit of the next question, so I'm just going to skip to one part of it here. Some people are wondering, are you looking at the price of Marsha when you're setting the wax value?
Yeah, so we're Marsha token for us is an in-game. It's an in-game currency meant to drive gameplay. So the way that we are looking at Marsha token is really what value does it have inside the game. And so right now, it's a brand new blockchain asset. There's still some time for it to stabilize, and as we work in more and more gameplay features that utilize Marsha token, I expect the value of it and the usefulness of it inside the game to stabilize a bit more. So yeah, I mean, there's a bit of it's a bit challenging to know specifically what the right prices are for the NFT packs. So we're testing this constantly. This will give us another really good data point for helping us in the future. And of course, we'll continue to improve over time. And this is why we determined the Dutch auction feature would be really exciting and a really interesting way to do this, give players different options. And I think having different options to purchase, having fun ways to kind of strategize on what crates are right for them, that's definitely one of our goals. We want to have players have a bunch of different options on how they can purchase, and I think that's kind of part of the fun of collecting these. There's different artwork, there's brand new mission and objective, and I think that having some ways to purchase these is fun.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So so next question, and that's also something that's important, and it is about the proceed. Where exactly will the Marsha token that are spent during the purchase of packs be redistributed, and will it be burned totally, partially? What will happen?
Yeah, so we're going to burn 10% of the Marsha token from the sale just to support the deflationary, tokenomic design of Marsha. And then in terms of, the remaining Marsha token, just to reiterate, our vision as a company is to really catalyze the will of humanity to become multiplanetary. So our goal with this project is to create, we really want to create a strong brand that represents humanity's multiplanetary future and show a vision of what Mars could look like for humanity and visualize that in a really high quality way. So we're ramping up the team significantly. We're hiring new 3D artists, new concept artists, entire new development team to support some of the 3D aspects of the game. We have multiple aerospace advisors, and we'll be working on getting those on the website so people can see the talent that's working on this project. We have architects that have joined the team. So we're going to create a technically accurate and cohesively designed self-sustaining city. And a lot of it's designed from the ground up, which means this is going to be like a totally unique vision of what Mars could be using real aerospace technology. And, hiring the best people, it costs money. We want the highest quality work. We want to continue to raise the bar of what quality looks like. And So our intention is to continue to, we're always reinvesting into the projects, growing the team, making sure that this is something that can be sustainable for years to come.
It's good to hear. So, next question we have is, considering the price of crates in Marsha, will the staking power be the same for M3 cards?
Yeah, so we typically refer to it just as earning power, just because it's really more about kind of the way that the Marsha token is calculated in the game. But the answer to the question is yes. Each card rarity will provide the same earning power as previous missions, and this is also kind of why we've created the burn event, the crafting event that was at the bottom of the Medium article. So we can probably get into that a little bit more and discuss the idea behind that.
Yes, great. And that's indeed one of the themes of the question. So I will now go to the first question that was in that category. So about the Dark Matter Mission 1 event, burning event. And the first question was with the thought that Mission 1 cards are worth less than Mission 2 and the Mission 3 cards will be more valuable, the price of the existing cards in the game has decreased a lot. So do you have an effort made to make Mission 1 cards more valuable according to the earning system?
Yeah, so that's kind of the role of this this crafting event. So basically, the idea is that the card rarities between missions should more or less be balanced to support future gameplay. So the goal is to really have a foundation for things like resource gameplay. And just to go into that a little bit more, the idea is, each mission has kind of a set amount of cards in circulation, and resources and things like that will add different ways of attributing. There'll be basically different reasons why different cards will be desirable for players. And those reasons, our hope is that they become more and more closely aligned with the subject of the card. So, for instance, the idea is that ice mining rig or the rover would be valuable because of what that particular item does in the colony. And so we want to continue to support kind of the decision making that astronauts and people on Mars would use these different items for. So it's more important for us to continue to build a value based on the usefulness of those items rather than just simply the differences between the supplies of different missions. So that's kind of why we're trying to balance the supplies between missions. And over time, the strategy for collecting different cards will get more and more complex. So it's important for us to have that consistent foundation so that in future gameplay releases, like with resources, expeditions, etc., where different cards will be useful for different things, it will allow for players to have more clarity when they're making strategic decisions.
Cool. So, over the past week or so since you've released the Medium article, it's been a bit of a hot topic issue about the 7 DM card burn. One of the options for that, or the outcomes, is to get 21 gold cards in return. A lot of people kind of questioning about that and how they feel about that. So one of the things they've been wondering is, will it be 3 same type golden cards, each in return for the DM cards that get burned?
Yeah, we could definitely look into that. It's a good suggestion. Our initial thinking was basically 21 random cards, random gold cards. So it might be possible that you get, 3, 4, 5 of a certain type. And then, of course, you can craft those, up to dark matter, just like any other gold card. So it is possible to get back up to those dark matter rarities if you want to. But yeah, I mean, we can look into if people want 3 gold cards of the different rarities so that they're guaranteed chance to craft. That's something we can probably see if it's possible from a technical perspective. But of course, you also be able to trade gold cards for the ones you want, just like previously. So I think it's also good to kind of mix up, your collection every once in a while and get involved in trading and get involved in our, buy sell trade channels and meet new people, connect with new people in our community. And I think things like this mechanics where you can kind of mix it up from time to time is fun, and it supports, the continued development of the community. And I think that's another reason why we're providing different options for players to collect cards and try their hand at maybe getting a new ownership card. There's exclusive ownership cards that will be available in this event, and there's some really cool cards that will be available only with this crafting system. And we're excited to release some of the artwork about it, but like we want to have a couple different ways of players interacting with the collection.
Mhm. Yeah, that
Great.
sounds great. And I think the question was also a little bit, as we know that some of the golds and dark matter, some items will be only available that way. That would be great to be certain that you will not receive 21 times. That's imagination, but 21 times one item, all the same, and then thinking about having more of a set that you can get, be unsure, not maybe 3 of each, but be sure to have at least 1 of each of the rare types that will be available only that way. And that brings us to the next themes that is about indeed the dark matters and the rest. It is about the Marsha payouts. And the next question, the 13th one, if I count it well, is will mission-free dark matter NFTs add more to the total overall Marsha given per hour, or will they diminish the returns of M1 and M2?
Yeah, so the hourly payouts based on the total earning power of all the cards in play. So that means the more cards are in play, the more Marsha is released per hour. So like the base cards and when I say base cards, I'm talking about the 5 base rarities, standard, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary. And so those will earn pretty much the same as they do now. It's the ownership card holders that might face some earning volatility initially, but that will balance over time, and we can probably get into that a little bit more as well.
Great. So that's actually the next question that we have on the list. People are wondering how are these new cards going to affect the ownership earnings?
Yeah, so the nature of the simulation we're building is that there will be more items added to the base over time. So that's been the case from the beginning of the projects and will continue to be the case. So there will be more ownership cards as missions launch to Mars. So the 15% of the ownership card payout pool will remain the same. And right now that's split between 74 ownership and sponsorship cards. So for mission 3, that number will increase from 74 to 116, I believe. And that might seem like a big change, but there will be more base cards, so therefore more earning power, and therefore more Marsha release per hour. So apart from like the initial drop during the actual sale and players going in and making their ownership and sponsorship card selections, there should be kind of a balance achieved pretty soon after, where there's kind of similar earnings that are happening. And that will continue to increase in complexity over time. Again, like hazards, resources, these kinds of things will start to increase the different strategies that players can employ when looking at ways to earn Marsha Token and different resources in the game. And that's coming next year, as we talked about before.
All right. So the next question related to ownerships again. So as of right now, the game is pretty dependent on ownership players. Are there mechanisms in place for solo players?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that is interesting is, in-game communities. That's another thing we're looking at in the future. There will definitely be an option for players who kind of want to stay independent and want to be on their own on Mars, to have fun and do different things. But we definitely encourage, people to get into communities, and there will be ways for, communities to have a bit of an edge inside of the colony, because on Mars, it's important to work together to solve different things. But I think, like this question also maybe is a little bit, it's in the future, there will be more options for players that will be less reliant on the ownership cards. So things like managing their own activations, or their own base cards, and how those are activated against different ownership cards, and strategizing the way that they're collecting resources to make more efficient use of their earning potential. There'll be different ways to kind of balance out and be less reliant on particular ownership cards or ownership players. So that will continue to increase over time. We just ask for some patience as we develop these features, as they do require some significant development time, and making sure that they're tested properly and implemented in a way where it's going to be a positive experience when we release it. So yeah, for now it's going to continue as players will be assigning their base cards to ownership cards to essentially support them, and we'll continue to release updates as we develop these new features.
Okay, great. And then we are now approaching slowly the end of this AMA and of the list. So we have a last themes that are more future gameplay of the mission free cards, and ideas that could be fun for the game next. And then the first question that is in this theme, this category, would be, so I see there are doctors. I'm assuming our other human NFTs could get sick or have their return diminished, just like calamities with object NFTs.
Yes. So as part of the hazard gameplay, astronauts' effectiveness will be diminished by sickness or health issues. So that will be one of the hazards that can befall the colony. So yeah, definitely look out for that. Of course, the goal, as we've talked about before, is to simulate a self-sustaining city on Mars. And of course, one of the challenges is astronauts' health and well-being. So we've made sure to design that into the gameplay.
Great to hear. So the next question, with 8 new sorry, I drank my water wrong.
No.
It's still getting to me. All right.
Okay.
So with 8 new astronauts arriving at the colony for Mission 3, do Hunter and the team intend to introduce a social and mental health aspect to the game, or dip into some of the mental health issues that may be involved with being so far away from home and family?
Yeah, it's a great point. And astronauts being so far, millions of miles away from home, there's certain struggles and challenges with that. And it's important, I think, to acknowledge, even in real life, the amount of strength it takes to be an explorer of the final frontier. And it's always been something that I've admired about astronauts and space travel, and the dedication it takes. And so I think one of the things that we're looking at exploring is a bit more of the story of the astronauts, and adding a little bit more of a narrative around certain elements, and exploring some of the science alongside of some of the astronauts, and what inspired them to go to Mars. So I think that will be potentially explored a bit in some of the story, and that's something we're working on for next year as well. And of course, like we were saying, the hazard gameplay will affect the astronauts, and we're looking at different ways to portray the health of the astronauts, which might include kind of the mental part as well.
Yeah, I think that's already answered in a big part. The next one, which one do you plan on introducing evolving relationship and conflict between the astronauts?
Yeah, I think there's such a human element to um, settling, and having a home away from home, right? Like there's people that are going to be in this new city, and I think it would be a really good opportunity for us to capitalize on the human element of this story. So of course, that's something that we're working on. Not too much to share yet, but of course, the story element is such a compelling way to explore what it means to have a second home for humanity, and it's really an interesting thing for us, for me personally, and I think people will really enjoy that kind of aspect of this as well.
That's awesome. I can't wait to learn more about how that's going to work. So, next, are there plans for collaborative NFTs on the colony? Maybe something with NASA or SpaceX or some other space agency?
Yeah, so we have aerospace experts in various parts of the industry. Some of them are connected with big names in the industry, and we'll release more information about the advisors and how we met them and what contributions they're making to the colony. But of course, like we're open to partnerships with different areas in the aerospace industry. I think there's strength to that, and our hope is that we're also providing some new perspectives that can inspire physical development of Mars technologies. And we have architects on the team that are designing the actual gameplay objects with a perspective of how could we actually build this in real life. And that's important to us. We're really not, our goal is to not be sci-fi, but like have a very realistic kind of simulation element to this. And that's a really a key part of what we're trying to build here. So of course, that's hopefully inspiring to individuals in the aerospace industry as well. And our intention is to continue to attract people who are interested in space travel and might even work in space travel to the game to participate. And we hope to continue to build that in the future.
Wow, that's great. And I think I saw in the chat that there are people, Nathan Norman, and talking about inflatable eating facilities, libraries, and so on. So I guess you may be up to something. And if we have architects in the team, that's great. I'm really impatient to see that city. And then, one last one, because we are almost at 45 minutes, and then I know you will have a small announcement to make. And that question is, will mission 3 be the last mission? And how many missions are planned in total? So for the long term.
Yeah. So as I was saying before, our intention is to make a self-sustaining city and design the entire thing. And we've designed a huge part of this already. And we're excited to release it when the time's right. But it's amazing the amount of work that's gone into it. And we're really excited to share it. Mission 3, of course, is still the early stages. If you can think about all the different pieces of equipment and items that are required for self-sustaining a city on Mars, that's our intention. And then beyond, having the ability for players to also purchase land and basically define their story on Mars and develop the perfect home away from home on a new planet. Our hope is that we continue to build that so that players can basically define what they want to do on Mars. So we have a multi-year plan. We're going to continue to build it and design it. And in real life, it would take many years to actually accomplish this. Of course, we're trying to speed that up. make it more interesting. And every mission, we speed up the clock about 2 years, which is when Earth and Mars align and a new mission can be shipped up to the surface. But we're taking the same amount of care to design it and make sure that it's as technically accurate as possible.
Great. So I think you have a little something to announce.
Yes.
Before going.
And I think the announcement kind of aligns with our long-term plans. We're continuing to build the team, and as part of that, Stephanie is joining the team, and we're excited to have her lead the charge in terms of community and helping lead basically all of our online engagements and AMAs. And so yeah, Stephanie, welcome to the team.
Okay, I must admit, in the last few days, it felt so long because we had to discuss a few things and to make sure. So I was there in the Discord, and I cannot tell them, but I really want. So now it's official, and thanks. Yeah. And thank you for all the answers too. So I know you have. So it's 45 minutes now, and you have another obligation just after it. So thanks again, Hunter, and that was great. Thunder, do you want to add something or?
I had a question. Is that a CM poster on your back wall?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so that means those are
great.
a thing.
Yeah.
Merchandising.
Yeah. Potentially, yeah. There's okay. Part of the creative process is printing things out and seeing them up close and seeing how the artwork looks in natural light. So yeah, the studio is basically. I have a lot of different print ups that we do for the new artwork to kind of critique it and provide feedback. So maybe one day we can get into a little bit more of the process of designing and developing these things. It's a lot of work and it's really fun. And yeah, so I think it's important to have the artwork around, and maybe there's an opportunity for us to make them things that people can also collect and have physically. So
that's awesome. That has been, I've been dying to ask that the whole AMA now. So
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Hunter. And then maybe I'm just taking a look at a few comments. And why so purple? No, you mean you mean the clothes. That's my preferred color. That's it. Purple here, purple there. That's just my preferred one. And then, yeah, so absolutely great. And we do have a giveaway today too, like last time, with 3 NFTs that will be given to people who sent questions. So you can now see them. And who will that be? So first one. And the winner is Tony Wiltrava. Congratulations. Okay, so a next one. And Big Bunny. Hey, I know you. Okay, so next one. And last one in this case. And that's yes. Okay.
All right.
I won't read that, but I guess you recognize yourself. Hopefully. Okay. So thanks a lot, everyone. And that was a great AMA. Well, I really enjoyed it. Okay. So that was maybe an error. You are doing a fourth one? Yeah, okay. So the number was not a name. I was also thinking that's weird. Times. Okay. So we have our 3 winners for the NFTs, and you will be contacted on the Discord for the wallet to send it. Okay. So Thunder, something? Hunter, Thunder.
Yeah, I just want to thank Hunter for coming out again for the AMA. It's awesome. You know, like I'm in the Discord all week long. People have a bunch of questions, and I know they love hearing all the answers straight from Hunter. So yeah, thanks again for coming out for this.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for tuning in, and yeah, continue to ask questions. We'll continue to answer them, and looking forward to mission 3.
Okay, great. So bye-bye, everyone.